Hi guys, I'm Jermaine and this is the LG G7. Now with this being released in early 2018, the question is simple. Is this possibly the best high-end phone you can get for a mid-range price? Let's find out in this review of the LG G7.
Every night I'm going on the grid, texting back, I want you, hit you up, I'm on the other side, I miss you, take you off, I came here way too strong, cannot keep it low key, got me drugged, your pheromones hit the roof, auto, your taste.
So, the LG G7 is honestly a well-packed phone when it comes to most things. We have a Snapdragon 845, 4 or 6 GB of RAM and internal memory either 64 or 128 GB. You can expand that via the microSD up to 512 GB as well, and we have a battery size of 3000 mAh, which is honestly pretty small. And of course it runs on Android 8. Next to that you have wireless charging, a headphone jack and some other nice features. But what makes LG phones stand out is the camera setup, and now it is not necessarily because of the hardware, because in that it doesn't have the best result out there. It is more down to the second camera being a wide angle camera, which can create some amazing shots when there's enough light of course. The downside however is that the sensor size itself on most LG phones isn't the greatest out there, with the main sensor only having a 1.0 micron pixel, where normally you get around 1.4. Now some of that is down to the megapixel count, with this having a 16 megapixel sensor, but that does result in low light shots that aren't on par with other high-end phones out there when this was released. But again, the saving grace for this LG phone is the wide angle shot. But apart from that, how does it hold up? Well, in terms of software, they of course have their own skin on top of Android 8, and while it runs pretty smooth, I'm not sure why by default there is no app drawer selected. The app drawer is much nicer to have next to the main screen. What I do however like is when you slide down anywhere from the home screen, you will get an overview of messages you have gotten. When the app drawer is activated, sliding up anywhere on the screen will get you to the app drawer. Now for me though, what is a bit of a downside is the camera app itself. I don't really like the way they have handled this, with the manual mode for instance not shown on the main screen but hidden on the modus, which also shows cinevideo, manual recording, panorama, slow motion and so on. Now honestly, what is the weakness of this phone is that it doesn't really stand out apart from the wide angle camera. It seems that there are a few steps behind, but with that being said, I do think apart from the notch, this is really a good looking phone with some clever things as well. For instance, boom sound and of course the DAC headphone jack as well. Now what is a bit of a shame is that this phone doesn't have an AMOLED display and you do have that notch. Now you can use that hide function to hide the notch, but because it isn't an AMOLED display you will still see it. It is a bit of a grey color. Apart from that though, I do really like the colors on this phone, and it does get really bright, and you can even select a function where it gets some extra brightness. So I do think the display itself is actually pretty good. At the end though, some of these downsides can somewhat be forgiven when you look at the current price, with this being sold for just 460 euros. This brings it very close to some mid-range phones out there, and looking at it from that angle, this phone just offers so much more, and that makes me feel that this phone without a doubt is worth it. So the LG G7, honestly at the end, this is really a compelling package that you have to look at. For one, you get more than most mid-range phones. Mid-range phones have to cut corners to get around this price. Now what you get in return is wireless charging, you get an IP rating, you get a headphone jack, you get proper build quality. Something you have to give up with some mid-range phones. For instance, the Pocophone F1, while it has the Snapdragon 845, enough RAM, enough storage, it gives up some features to create that price, and this doesn't. This is an old high-end phone, so you get everything included that you would expect from a high-end phone. Yes, it isn't the best high-end phone out there, but with the current price of 460 euros, you cannot look past this and say, why not look at this instead of a mid-range phone? Either way, let me know in the comments below what you think of the LG G7 and what you think they need to do to make something compelling and let people really buy this phone. For me, the wide angle lens and of course the DAC audio headphone jack is really something that makes it compelling for me, and with the price combined, you cannot look past this. Either way, let me know in the comments below what you think of this LG G7. And of course, if you like my videos, don't forget to subscribe, and if you want to see more, press that bell icon so you get a notification when I actually upload a new video. Also a quick notification, I saw the growth on that Samsung Galaxy F. That is crazy, it's hitting like 11k views per hour sometimes. That's mind-boggling. Thank you all for watching that video as well and sharing it around. I really do appreciate that. It's been some time since a Concept did that, so I'm pretty happy with that. Either way, have a good one and talk to you guys in the next.